everyone, just a really quick video for this week on Shrove Tuesday, which is coming up next week. I guess the question is, how would you refer to Shrove Tuesday in a group fitness class? Now you might be thinking, well, Mel, you're teaching group fitness, you're in the fitness industry. Why are you even referring to Shrove Tuesday and pancakes at all? Now, if I was giving nutrition advice, I would agree with that. However, the goal of these videos is rapport building. So it's a little bit different to giving nutrition advice. So generally, I would expect that my people know that eating a whole heap of pancakes with a whole heap of ice cream and sugar on top of them and maybe other bits and pieces such as maple syrup, they're not going to be the best thing from a nutritional point of view. But I also want to build rapport with my people. And building rapport with people means that you get talking about almost anything. So anything goes when it comes to rapport building. So therefore, pancakes and Shrove Tuesday are definitely on the list when that day is happening. So from that perspective, I will be referring to pancakes during my classes. So consider why I might do it. Number one is because it helps to connect with people. Number two, it's also quite a multicultural concept. I'm going to talk about that just a little bit more here. So Shrove Tuesday or Pancake Day has been celebrated in England since the Middle Ages. It was primarily a way to get all of the rich foods out of the house, such as your eggs, your milk and your cream, out of the house before Lent started the next day, which was usually associated with some kind of fasting. It also involved a few pancake races in some places, and in some areas, a football game would also be played. So Shrove Tuesday isn't just restricted to England or the English-speaking world. Across in France and in the French-speaking world, the day is known as Mardi Gras. Mardi is the word for Tuesday, and gras is the word for fat in French. Put them together, you get essentially Fat Tuesday. But of course in French, your adjective generally comes after the noun, so Mardi Gras, Tuesday fat. And of course, if you are in France, you probably won't have a thick pancake. Instead, you're more than likely to have a crepe, especially if you're in Paris. So according to my local gelateria, waffles are pancakes with abs. So in order to get some waffles, you need to go a little bit north of France, into Belgium and also into the Netherlands. Now I should just mention, in Brussels, in Belgium, and also in the Wallonia area of Belgium, you will generally find people speaking French. However, from my experience of my time in Brussels, I saw a lot more ads for waffles than I did for crepes. So maybe it's not all of the French-speaking world which is doing a pancake day on Shrove Tuesday. Maybe some of them are doing a waffle day or a pancakes with abs day. So the first written pancake recipe in England dates to the 15th century. However, the concept of frying batter to make a flat bread dates back millennia and is very much cross-cultural. So consider tortillas. They aren't just a Mexican thing, by the way. They are very prominent in all of Latin America. Then you've also got your roti canai of Malaysia and also Indonesia, not to mention kebab bread and pita bread. So this is just a few little examples of some versions of pancakes which you potentially make references to in your classes. And here are a few more examples. So the benefit with pancakes, or the concept of a flat fried bread being something which is so much a part of so many different cultures, is that we can extend an extra hand of inclusion in this way. So for example, on Tuesday night, I have a lady who is Russian in my class. So I expect within the course of my class to refer to a Russian blini or a Russian blitz. I might also refer to latkes, something totally different, which just gives people a different thing to think about. And then I might also refer to just general pancakes anyway, because that's what people will most likely go home and cook up for themselves if they decide to do that. But by extending a little bit of a hand of inclusion, a little bit of a reference to different cultures, just helps people to feel like they are part of it, especially if they come from those cultures. And that is something which can be really important in including people in your classes. So how would I make reference to pancakes in my classes? Well, this is how I would do it in a Pilates class. So when I'm teaching, say, dead bugs or opposite arm to leg in supine, what I'll often do is they're demonstrating, so I'll say, drop down a leg. If you make it harder, opposite arm drops down. But inevitably, people start doing this as opposed to the more controlled option, or the controlled version, which is what I'm really looking for. So I'll often say that I want them to imagine that there's a tray between their hands and their knees, and they want to keep that completely steady. So I will sometimes say that on that tray there's something breakable. So a few months ago, after I'd just been to Ireland and had been to Waterford Crystal, I was saying that there was a piece of crystal on that tray. But sometimes I will say it's food. So sometimes I'll say something like a smashed avocado and sourdough, particularly if it's around breakfast time, or else I might say a coffee. But of course on Tuesday night, Shrove Tuesday, I guess I'm going to be saying that it's a pancake of some description. The other move, which is really handy for using that sort of analogy, is on your hands and your knees. Opposite arm to leg on the hands and knees. So you've got opposite arm and leg coming up. And then what you're saying to people is, imagine on the back, there's something that you don't want to have spilling off. So once again, this Tuesday night is going to be a pancake of some description. May not be the most traditional of pancakes. I might say it's a tortilla. But it will be some kind of food which can be defined as a pancake. The other position which I often like to make a little analogy on is, when I'm teaching Pilates, is the single leg kick. So in the single leg kick, you've got a leg coming back in a kick option, kick move, but your focus isn't really what's going on with the lower body, because actually what the lower body's doing is relatively easy. What the focus should be is the upper body. So focusing on pulling the head up toward the ceiling, getting a really good stretch into the chest, and also a bit of activation to the upper back and to the neck. So at that point, I often like to say to my patrons, imagine that there's a carrot suspended from the ceiling and you are trying to take a bite. Now, all of my patrons have said that the carrot isn't really that motivational. Well, at least most of them have said that. So I will try and up the motivation. So sometimes I will say a strawberry. Sometimes I will say a chocolate. Actually, they've sometimes negotiated for the chocolate. Other times I might say a dumpling or a wonton. If it's Lunar New Year, then yeah, the wonton was definitely in it, Lunar New Year. Other time I've had someone suggest a bottle of bourbon before today. Hey, that wasn't me. I promise. I was being good. So yeah, for Shrove Tuesday, what I'll probably do is be saying some kind of pancake which is folded over on itself, so it's something which can hang and you can still try and take a bite. Maybe I say an enchilada. I wonder who'll be in. I would be. Oh, and yes, by the way, yes, I do wear this Irish GAA shirt sometimes for my classes. It's all about rapport building. People see something from the GAA and they've got some Irish background. You don't think it wouldn't generate a little chit-chat? That's what it's at. So hopefully that has given you a few ideas for how you might include references to pancakes and Shrove Tuesday in a class which you might be teaching. And hey, if the scope of the class doesn't quite lend itself to that, well, then you can at least talk to people about it prior to the class or after the class when you were talking to people. It is a good opportunity to get to know people and just to create those connections with people, which gets them coming back. Have a good day. Bye.